Close your eyes and journey back 58 million years to a nightmare that never happened, but could have. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Tonight, we're going to explore one of the most terrifying what-if scenarios in prehistoric history. What would happen if early humans encountered Titanoboa? Let your body relax as we set the stage for this impossible battle. Now, I need to be honest with you from the start. This encounter never actually happened. It couldn't have happened. Titanoboa surreyhonensis went extinct around 58 million years ago during the Paleocene epoch. The first humans wouldn't appear for another 57.7 million years or so. We missed each other by an incomprehensibly vast stretch of time. But here's the thing that's going to keep us occupied for the next 6 hours. What if we hadn't? What if, through some bizarre twist of evolution or climate or cosmic timing, these two species had overlapped? What if early humans, say Homo erectus or even early Homo sapiens, had wandered into a jungle where Titanoboa still ruled? Breathe slowly. Prepare yourself for the most terrifying predator-prey scenario in Earth's history. Meet Titanoboa, the impossible serpent. Before we pit humans against this monster, you need to understand exactly what Titanoboa was, because the reality is more terrifying than any movie monster. Titanoboa surreyhonensis was discovered in 2009 in the Cerrejón coal mines of Colombia. Paleontologists found fossilized vertebrae, spine bones, that were absolutely massive. At first, they thought they'd found a crocodile. They hadn't. What they'd found were the remains of the largest snake that ever existed. Let yourself sink deeper as we explore this nightmare. The numbers are almost incomprehensible. Length 42 to 48 feet, 13 to 15 meters. That's as long as a school bus, as long as a T-Rex was tall. Weight estimated 2,500 pounds, 1,135 kilograms, more than a ton of pure muscle and scales. Diameter, at its thickest point, probably 3 feet around, thicker than your torso. Head, roughly 2 feet long, with jaws that could open wide enough to swallow a human whole. Close your eyes and picture this snake, the length of a bus, as thick as an oil drum, weighing more than a car. Modern anacondas, the largest living snakes, max out around 25 to 30 feet and maybe 500 pounds. Titanoboa was nearly twice as long and 5 times heavier. It's not just a bigger snake, it's a different category of predator entirely. And it lived in a world perfectly designed for it. The Paleocene, Titanoboa's perfect nightmare world. Breathe deeply as we set the scene for this impossible battle. The climate was brutally hot. Average temperatures were 86 to 93 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 to 34 degrees Celsius. There were no ice caps, no polar bears, no penguins, just relentless, swampy heat. This heat is crucial to understanding Titanoboa. Snakes are cold-blooded, ectothermic. Their body temperature depends on their environment. The hotter the climate, the larger snakes can grow. In today's cooler world, physics and metabolism limit snake size. But in the Paleocene hothouse, those limits were pushed to their absolute extreme. Titanoboa was possible only because the world was a furnace. The landscape was endless tropical rainforest and swamp. Think Amazon rainforest, but bigger, wetter, hotter. massive rivers, sprawling wetlands, dense jungle. Titanoboa lived in and around these waterways, much like modern anacondas. The forest was thick with vegetation that wouldn't exist for millions of years in the future. Primitive palms, massive ferns, early flowering plants, all growing in the greenhouse conditions. Let yourself drift as you imagine this primeval jungle. The prey was enormous. Titanoboa shared its world with carbenemes, a turtle with a shell 5+ feet across, weighing 200+ pounds. Titanoboa ate these. Giant prehistoric crocodiles, up to 20 feet long. Titanoboa probably ate young ones or competed with adults. Early mammals, beginning to diversify after the dinosaur extinction, some already quite large. Massive prehistoric fish, rivers full of enormous prehistoric fish. Titanoboa was the apex predator of this world. Nothing hunted it hunted everything. And its hunting method was the stuff of nightmares. How Titanoboa killed. Close your eyes and prepare for the reality of how this predator operated. Titanoboa was a constrictor like modern boas and pythons, but at this size, constriction becomes something qualitatively different. Here's how a Titanoboa attack would have proceeded. Step 1. Ambush. Titanoboa was an ambush predator. It would lie in shallow water or dense vegetation, completely still. Its camouflage was probably excellent, mottled browns and greens, perfectly matching the murky water and shadows. Breathe slowly. Feel the patience of the perfect predator. Step 2. Strike. When prey came within range, Titanoboa would strike with explosive speed. Despite its massive muscle mass, it could move frighteningly fast in short bursts. Modern anacondas can strike at roughly 10 miles per hour. Titanoboa, with its massive muscle mass, could probably match or exceed that speed. That's faster than most humans can react. The strike wouldn't be to bite and inject venom. Titanoboa wasn't venomous. It didn't need to be. The strike was to grab and secure the prey. Those jaws would clamp down with hundreds of pounds of force. Dozens of sharp, backward-curving teeth would sink into flesh, ensuring the prey couldn't escape. Within seconds of the strike, Titanoboa would begin coiling its massive body around the prey, loop after loop of muscle, each section thicker than a human torso, wrapping around the victim. Close your eyes and imagine being in that coil. Step 4. Constriction. Here's what most people get wrong about constriction. It doesn't crush you. It doesn't break your bones, usually. It does something worse. Every time you exhale, the coils tighten, just a little, just enough that you can't fully inhale again. The snake feels your breathing. It's detecting the expansion and contraction of your rib cage, and it adjusts its pressure accordingly. You can't breathe in. Your lungs are compressed. Your diaphragm can't expand. Breathe deeply now while you still can in this thought experiment. But it's not just suffocation. The constriction is also cutting off blood flow. The massive pressure is collapsing your vessels. Your heart is being compressed. Blood can't reach your brain. You remain conscious for maybe 30 to 60 seconds. Your vision tunnels. Your hearing fades. You panic, but you can't move, can't breathe, can't fight. Then unconsciousness. Then death. The whole process, from strike to death, takes maybe 2 to 3 minutes for a human-sized prey animal. Titanoboa wouldn't need long to kill you. Step 5. Consumption. Once you're dead, Titanoboa would slowly work its jaws over your body. Snakes can unhinge their jaws and stretch their mouths to incredible size. Titanoboa could swallow prey up to 3 feet in diameter. An average human, you'd fit easily. The swallowing process would take 15 to 30 minutes. You'd be pulled into the snake's throat by the action of its jaws and throat muscles, still whole, still intact, slowly disappearing into the darkness of the snake's gullet. Let this image settle in your mind as you drift toward sleep.
So here's what we're going to explore over the next 6 hours. What would happen if prehistoric humans encountered Titanoboa? Not modern humans with guns and technology, prehistoric humans with stone tools and fire and intelligence, yes, but without any of the advantages that make us apex predators today. Could we win? Could we survive? Could we even fight back against a predator so fundamentally different from anything we evolved to handle? Spoiler alert, it would be the most brutal, one-sided, terrifying battle in the history of human-animal conflict. And yet, humans are clever. Humans are adaptable. Humans are persistence hunters who can plan and coordinate and use tools. Maybe, just maybe, we'd have a chance. Let's find out. Breathe deeply. The battle is about to begin. Homo erectus, our champion. Close your eyes and meet our human representatives in this impossible battle. For this thought experiment, we're going to use Homo erectus as our baseline human. Why Homo erectus? Several reasons. They existed at the right time, sort of. Homo erectus appeared about 2 million years ago and persisted until about 110,000 years ago. Obviously still millions of years after Titanoboa, but they're good representatives of early humans. They were capable. Homo erectus had large brains, 900 to 1100 cubic centimeters, about 75% of modern human brain size. Stone tool technology, Acheulean hand axes and cleavers. Control of fire, possible use of language or proto-language. Social groups and cooperation. Persistence hunting capabilities. They were tough. Homo erectus spread from Africa to Asia to Europe. They survived ice ages and tropical climates. They hunted megafauna. They were survivors. Breathe slowly as we examine our ancestors. Let's get specific about what a Homo erectus individual could do. Physical capabilities. Height, 4'9" to 6'1", 145 to 185 centimeters, similar to modern humans with greater variation. Weight, 88 to 150 pounds, 40 to 68 kilograms, leaner than modern humans. Brain size, 900 to 1100 cubic centimeters, modern humans 1350 cc average. Lifespan, maybe 30 to 40 years maximum. Sexual dimorphism, males significantly larger than females. Strength and endurance, stronger than modern humans pound for pound. Exceptional endurance, could run for hours. Better at climbing than modern humans. More robust bones and muscle attachments. Powerful jaws and teeth, though not as powerful as earlier hominids. Intelligence, tool use, could create and maintain stone tools. Fire control, could make and maintain fire. Planning, could plan hunts and coordinate group action. Memory, excellent spatial memory for landscape navigation. Learning, could teach and learn skills from group members. Problem solving, could adapt to new environments. Close your eyes. Appreciate the capabilities of our ancestors. Weapons and tools. Homo erectus had access to hand axes, shaped stones used for cutting and chopping, cleavers, large cutting tools, scrapers for processing hides and wood, wooden spears, possibly with fire-hardened tips, though direct evidence is limited, stones for throwing. Humans are uniquely good at throwing with accuracy. Fire, perhaps the most important tool for warmth, cooking, defense, and hunting. Hunting strategies. Homo erectus likely hunted using persistence hunting, chasing prey to exhaustion over many hours, ambush hunting, using geography and group coordination, scavenging, taking kills from other predators, group coordination, working together to bring down large prey. These are formidable advantages. Humans are smart, social, tool-using predators. But Titanoboa doesn't care about any of that. Let yourself sink deeper as we explore the snake's perspective. Titanoboa, the perfect killing machine. Now let's examine Titanoboa in detail, because understanding your enemy is the first step in survival. Close your eyes and enter the mind of the serpent. Anatomy of a monster. The head. Titanoboa's skull was roughly 2 feet long and 18 inches wide. The jaws were lined with hundreds of sharp, backward curving teeth, not for chewing, but for gripping. The teeth weren't for venom delivery. Titanoboa had no venom. It didn't need venom. It was too big, too powerful, too patient. The jaw structure allowed for incredible gape. The snake could open its mouth wide enough to swallow prey up to 3 feet in diameter. A human head? No problem. A human torso? Still manageable. The eyes. Snake eyes are different from mammal eyes. Titanoboa likely had excellent motion detection, poor color vision like most snakes, vertical pupils that could adjust to different light levels, the ability to see in dim light, crucial for a semi-aquatic predator. But sight wasn't Titanoboa's primary sense. Breathe slowly as we explore how the monster hunts. Heat sensing. Modern boas have heat-sensing pits on their faces that can detect infrared radiation. Essentially, they can see heat. Titanoboa likely had similar or even more advanced heat-sensing capabilities. This means Titanoboa could hunt in complete darkness. It could detect a warm-blooded human from many feet away, tracking the heat signature of your body against the cooler background of the jungle. You can't hide from a predator that sees your heat, not in a tropical jungle where there's no cold to mask your warmth. Jacobson's organ. Like all snakes, Titanoboa had a Jacobson's organ, a specialized sensory structure in the roof of its mouth that detects chemical signatures in the air. That's what the tongue flicking is for. The forked tongue collects air molecules and delivers them to the Jacobson's organ, which analyzes them for the chemical signatures of prey, predators, or mates. Titanoboa could smell you from hundreds of yards away. It could track you through water, through mud, through dense jungle. Your scent trail was a glowing path leading directly to you. Vibration sensitivity. Snakes are exquisitely sensitive to vibrations. They can feel footsteps through the ground from surprising distances. Titanoboa's massive body, lying in shallow water or on the forest floor, was essentially a giant vibration detector. Every footstep you took sent ripples through the earth that the snake could feel and interpret. You can't sneak up on something that feels you coming through the ground itself. Close your eyes. Realize how outmatched you are. The body. 42 to 48 feet of pure muscle. Let's break that down. The vertebral column contained roughly 250 to 300 vertebrae, each one articulating with its neighbors to provide both flexibility and strength. The ribs protected the internal organs and provided attachment points for the massive muscle sheets that ran the length of the body. The muscles themselves were layered in complex arrangements: longitudinal muscles for forward movement, segmental muscles for constriction, specialized muscles for fine control of the body's position. The skin was covered with scales, each overlapping the next, providing protection, reducing water loss, and allowing smooth movement through water and across the ground. The tail was heavily muscled and prehensile. It could grip branches, anchor the snake during constriction, and provide additional purchase when climbing or swimming. In water, the tail was a powerful rudder and propeller. Titanoboa could swim with frightening speed and grace. Breathe deeply. Feel the power of the predator. Metabolism and energy. Being cold-blooded, Titanoboa's metabolism was much slower than a mammal's. This had several implications. Energy efficiency. Titanoboa could survive on one meal for weeks or even months. A single large kill could sustain it for an extended period. Patience. It didn't need to hunt frequently, so it could afford to wait for the perfect opportunity. Temperature dependence. Its activity level depended on temperature. In the heat of the Paleocene, it would be quite active. If temperatures dropped, unlikely in that era, it would become sluggish. Strength. Pound for pound, cold-blooded animals can be incredibly strong because they don't waste energy on maintaining body temperature. The sensory war. Who detects whom first? Let's run a scenario. A small band of Homo erectus, let's say 8 individuals, mixed males and females, is moving through a Paleocene jungle. Titanoboa is somewhere nearby. Who detects whom first? Close your eyes and imagine you're there. Human senses. Vision. Humans have excellent vision. Color vision, depth perception, high acuity. In daylight, in open terrain, humans can spot threats from far away. But in dense jungle, with thick vegetation, dappled light, and a well-camouflaged snake, human vision becomes much less effective. Titanoboa lying still in murky water or under dense foliage would be nearly invisible to human eyes. The mottled pattern of its scales would break up its outline. The sheer size would work against detection. Humans are good at spotting movement, less good at recognizing a massive, motionless shape as a threat. Hearing. Humans have good hearing, but Titanoboa is silent. When it moves slowly, it makes almost no sound. Its scales slide over surfaces with minimal noise. In water, it's even quieter. The jungle itself is loud. Bird calls, insect sounds, wind in the trees, running water. These sounds would mask any subtle noise Titanoboa might make. Advantage: Titanoboa. Breathe slowly. Feel the danger you don't yet see. Smell. Human olfaction is decent but not exceptional. We can smell strong odors, but we're not tracking animals by scent. Could you smell Titanoboa? Probably not. Snakes don't have a strong scent, especially when they're just lying still. The jungle smells, rotting vegetation, flowers, water, would overwhelm any snake scent. Intuition or fear response. Here's where it gets interesting. Humans have an evolved fear of snakes. It's one of our most primal fears, probably because snakes were a significant threat to our ancestors. Some researchers believe we have a specialized neural pathway for detecting snake-like shapes. We're faster at spotting snakes than most other objects. So it's possible that one of the Homo erectus individuals might feel uneasy, might sense that something is wrong without consciously knowing why. But would that be enough to save them? Titanoboa's senses. Heat detection. In the tropical heat, the human body is still several degrees warmer than the environment. Titanoboa's heat pits would detect this difference easily from 20 to 30 feet away, possibly farther. The snake would know exactly where each human was, even if they were behind vegetation or in shadow. Chemical detection. Titanoboa would smell the humans from much farther away, hundreds of yards if the wind was right. The scent of sweat, breath, the oils on skin, all would be obvious to the Jacobson's organ. The snake would have plenty of warning that prey was approaching. Vibration. Every footstep would announce the human's approach. Titanoboa would feel them coming from a considerable distance. Close your eyes. Realize the inevitable conclusion. Who wins the sensory war? Titanoboa. Overwhelmingly. The snake would detect the humans long before the humans detected the snake. It would have time to position itself perfectly, maybe in a water crossing the humans need to use, maybe along a game trail they're following. It would lie in wait perfectly still, completely invisible, and it would strike without warning. Let this grim reality settle over you like a blanket as you drift toward sleep. The physical mismatch, speed, strength, and durability. Let's compare the physical capabilities of human versus snake in detail. Close your eyes and imagine the confrontation. Speed. Human sprint speed, Homo erectus could probably sprint at 15 to 20 miles per hour for short distances. Modern humans can hit 15 miles per hour fairly easily, and fit individuals can reach 20 to 25 miles per hour. Homo erectus, being leaner and more adapted to running, might match the upper end of that range. But here's the problem. You can only sprint for a short time, maybe 100 or 200 yards before exhaustion forces you to slow down. Titanoboa strike speed. Modern anacondas can strike at roughly 10 miles per hour. Titanoboa with greater muscle mass could probably match or exceed that. But the strike doesn't need to be faster than a human can run. It only needs to be faster than a human can react and dodge. Human reaction time is roughly 0.25 seconds, the time between seeing a threat and beginning to move. In 0.25 seconds, a strike at 10 miles per hour covers more than 3.5 feet. If Titanoboa is within 10 feet, already within range, and you don't see it until it moves, you have no chance to dodge. The strike will land before your brain even finishes processing what you're seeing. Breathe slowly. Feel the impossibility of escape. Swimming speed. This is where things get even worse for humans. Humans are adequate swimmers, but not fast. Maximum human swimming speed is maybe 5 to 6 miles per hour for a trained swimmer, less for average individuals. Titanoboa in water, it's an aquatic predator. Modern anacondas can swim at 10 miles per hour with bursts of greater speed. Titanoboa, massively muscled and perfectly adapted to aquatic movement, could probably exceed 15 miles per hour. You cannot outswim Titanoboa. If the encounter happens in or near water, you're at a catastrophic disadvantage. Climbing speed. Humans can climb, but we're slow at doing it. A fit human might ascend a tree at 5 to 10 feet per minute, depending on the tree. Snakes are excellent climbers, constrictors especially. They use their muscular bodies and prehensile tails to grip branches. Titanoboa, with its massive strength, could climb quite well. You can't escape by climbing. The snake can follow. The only question is whether the tree branches can support its weight. Strength. Let's be very clear about this. You cannot physically fight Titanoboa hand-to-hand and win. Close your eyes. Accept this reality.
Human strength. A strong Homo erectus male might have a grip strength of 130 to 160 pounds force.
Modern humans average 100 to 120 pounds. Homo erectus was probably somewhat stronger. A strong human can lift 200 to 400 pounds in ideal conditions, deadlift type movement. Titanoboa strength. We're talking about 2,500 pounds of muscle that evolved specifically for constriction, for crushing the life out of prey. Modern anacondas can exert roughly 90 psi, pounds per square inch, of constriction pressure. Titanoboa, with vastly greater mass and muscle, could probably exceed 200 plus psi over a large surface area. To put that in perspective, 200 psi over even a small area of your chest is literally crushing pressure. Your ribs would crack, your organs would be compressed. And it's not just pressure, it's grip. Once Titanoboa coils around you, you'd need to be able to uncoil a 2,500-pound weight that's actively fighting to stay wrapped around you. The physics simply don't allow it. You cannot break free. You cannot pry off the coils. You cannot overpower the snake. Breathe deeply. Feel your inadequacy. Durability. Human durability. Humans are fragile. Our bones break. Our organs rupture. Our skin tears. A crushing injury to the chest can kill us. A broken leg makes us immobile. A deep laceration causes us to bleed out. We're endurance specialists, not durability specialists. We're built to run for hours, not to take physical punishment. Titanoboa durability. Snakes are remarkably tough. Their ribs are flexible. Their organs are elongated and can shift within the body cavity. They can take significant impacts without serious injury. Their scales provide armor against bites and scratches. Their muscle mass distributes force. You can hurt Titanoboa with the right weapon and the right strike, but it takes a lot to kill it. Even a serious wound might not stop it immediately. It would keep fighting until blood loss or organ damage finally dropped it. And it doesn't feel pain the way mammals do. Its nervous system is different. What would be agonizing to you might barely slow it down. The intelligence gap. Planning versus instinct. Here's where humans have an advantage. Finally, close your eyes and consider our greatest weapon, intelligence. Human cognitive advantages. Planning. Humans can think ahead. We can say, if we encounter a predator, here's what we'll do. We can prepare strategies before the crisis happens. We can recognize danger from seeing signs, tracks, kills, patterns in the environment. We can avoid areas where predators hunt. Coordination. Humans can work together in complex ways. We can assign roles. You distract while I strike. We can coordinate simultaneous attacks from multiple directions. We can communicate sophisticated ideas. Remember the last time we fought a large snake? Let's do that thing that worked. Tool use. This is huge. Humans don't fight with just our bodies. We use weapons that extend our reach, multiply our force, and allow us to injure predators from a distance. A spear gives you 6 to 8 feet of reach. You can strike at the snake while staying outside its strike range, theoretically. Fire terrifies most animals. A burning brand might drive Titanoboa away, or at least make it hesitate. Stones can be thrown with accuracy and force. Humans are uniquely good at throwing. A well-aimed rock to the head might stun the snake or injure its eyes. Learning. Humans learn from experience and share that knowledge. If one band encounters Titanoboa and some survive, they can warn other bands. They can develop and transmit successful strategies. Over generations, humans could accumulate knowledge about how to fight these snakes effectively. Breathe slowly. Feel hope beginning to emerge. Titanoboa's cognitive limitations. Instinct. Titanoboa operates largely on instinct. Its sophisticated instinct evolved over millions of years to make it a perfect ambush predator, but it's not flexible problem solving. The snake doesn't plan. It doesn't think, these creatures might have weapons, so I should be more careful. It sees warm-blooded prey of appropriate size and it strikes. That's what its ancestors did for millions of years, and that's what works. No learning. Titanoboa can't learn humans are dangerous because they throw burning sticks. It might learn to avoid fire in the moment, but it won't pass that knowledge to other snakes or remember it weeks later when encountering different humans. Each encounter is independent. The snake doesn't accumulate tactical knowledge. No coordination. Titanoboa is solitary. It doesn't hunt in packs. It doesn't coordinate with other snakes. It's alone. This means that even though one Titanoboa is vastly more powerful than one human, a group of humans fighting cooperatively has an advantage over a single snake. The wild card. Experience. Here's the thing though. Titanoboa has been an apex predator for millions of years. It has perfect instincts developed over deep time. Humans are newcomers. Our intelligence is powerful, but we're figuring things out as we go. The first encounters would be disasters. Humans would have no idea what they're facing. They'd make fatal mistakes. Entire groups would be wiped out. But the survivors would learn. Close your eyes and imagine the accumulated wisdom of survivors. Over time, over many encounters, humans would develop a body of knowledge about Titanoboa, where Titanoboa hunts, how it attacks, its vulnerabilities, successful strategies, warning signs. And this knowledge would spread. Humans are social. We share information. We tell stories. We teach our children. Eventually, we might develop something like a fighting chance. But that eventually would be paid for in lives. Many, many lives. Let this somber truth carry you deeper into sleep. The environmental battlefield. Where this battle takes place matters enormously. Let's explore different environments and how they favor each combatant. Close your eyes and tour the Paleocene landscape. Environment 1. Shallow water, swamp. This is Titanoboa's perfect hunting ground. This is where it evolved to kill. Advantages for Titanoboa. Complete mobility. It swims better than you do anything. Perfect camouflage. Murky water hides its massive body. Ambush opportunities. It can position itself in crossing points, knowing prey must come through. Three-dimensional combat. It can attack from below, pulling you under. Your vision is impaired. You can't see through murky water. Your movement is slowed. You're wading while it's swimming. Escape is nearly impossible. You can't outswim it.
You can breathe air? Seriously,
If Titanoboa engages you in shallow water, you're almost certainly dead. The best strategy is to avoid water entirely. Cross rivers at their narrowest, shallowest points. Travel during the day when you can see into the water. Never wade through murky pools or vegetation-choked waterways. If you absolutely must cross water, send someone across first to agitate it, then wait and watch. If there's a Titanoboa there, you might see movement or ripples, but your best bet is just don't go in the water. Breathe deeply. Feel the menace of murky waters. Environment 2. Dense jungle. Jungle is more complicated. It's still favorable to Titanoboa, but humans have some defensive options. Advantages for Titanoboa: excellent camouflage in vegetation, ambush opportunities among roots and fallen logs, can use trees and branches to anchor itself during constriction, reduced visibility for humans, silent movement through foliage. Advantages for humans: trees for climbing, though Titanoboa can follow, multiple escape routes, fallen branches and rocks as improvised weapons. Fire is more effective in the open air. Group coordination is easier when not in water. Possibility of seeing the snake before it's in strike range, if you're very lucky. In jungle, humans have a fighting chance if they're alert, grouped, and armed. The key is detecting the snake before it can position for ambush. This requires constant vigilance, checking vegetation before pushing through it, inspecting fallen logs before stepping over them, watching for the telltale shape of coiled snake among the forest floor debris. Exhausting work. One mistake and you're dead. Environment 3. Open ground or riverbank. This is actually the best environment for humans, not because we have an advantage, but because we have the least disadvantage. Advantages for humans: clear sight lines, you can see the snake from farther away, room to maneuver and retreat, can use distance weapons, thrown stones, spears, can use fire to create barriers. Group coordination is easiest here. Multiple escape routes. Advantages for Titanoboa: speed in short bursts, it can close distance quickly, still stronger and more durable, less likely to be seriously injured by thrown weapons at range. On open ground, an alert, armed group of humans might actually repel Titanoboa. They could maintain distance, throw stones and spears, use fire to deter approach. But the snake doesn't have to attack in the open. It can retreat to water or jungle where it has the advantage. It can wait for night when human vision is impaired. And if it does attack in the open, it only needs one person. One mistake, one stumble, one individual who is too slow, and Titanoboa has its meal. Close your eyes. Appreciate the complexity of the battlefield. Environment 4. Night. Night transforms everything. Humans are diurnal, day active. Our vision in darkness is poor. We can see some things by starlight or moonlight, but nothing like daylight. Titanoboa's heat-sensing pits work just as well at night as during the day. Better, even, because the temperature difference between your warm body and the cooler night is more pronounced. At night, in jungle or near water, humans are almost helpless. You can't see the snake. You can barely see your companions. You're stumbling through darkness while Titanoboa tracks your heat signature with perfect precision. Fire helps. A torch gives light and heat. A campfire creates a defended perimeter. Most animals fear fire and won't approach an open flame. But fire also announces your location. and it creates shadows that dance and flicker, making it harder to spot a motionless snake in the darkness beyond the firelight. Night travel in Titanoboa territory would be suicidal. You'd make camp, build a large fire, post guards, and pray you survive until dawn. Many wouldn't. Breathe slowly. Feel the terror of darkness. The ambush, how most people would die. Close your eyes and experience what most encounters with Titanoboa would actually look like: sudden, brutal, and one-sided. Let me walk you through a typical ambush in excruciating detail. The setup. A band of 8 Homo erectus, 4 adult males, 3 adult females, 1 adolescent, are traveling through riverside jungle. They're following a game trail looking for food. It's mid-afternoon, hot and humid. They're tired, thirsty. Ahead, the trail descends to a small stream crossing. The water is shallow, ankle to knee deep, and flows slowly. The stream is maybe 20 feet wide. The bottom is muddy. They've crossed streams like this dozens of times. There's no reason to think this one is different. But it is different, because Titanoboa is here. Breathe deeply. Feel the menace of murky waters. The snake has been lying in this stream for 2 days, waiting. It detected prey crossing here 3 days ago, a large herbivore that was too quick, too aware. The snake let it go. It's not hungry enough yet to waste energy on a difficult hunt. But now it's been long enough. Its metabolism is telling it to feed. It's positioned itself lengthwise in the stream, mostly submerged, with just its nostrils above water near the far bank. The murky water and algae-covered rocks make it invisible. It's also partially buried in bottom mud, with just enough clearance to strike. The snake detected the approaching humans 10 minutes ago, felt their footsteps through the ground, smelled them on the breeze, sensed their heat when they got close enough. It's ready. Coiled tension. Perfect patience. The approach. The humans reach the stream. They don't pause long. They've crossed many streams. The lead hunter, an experienced adult male, steps in first. He's alert for crocodiles, which do exist in this time period, but he's looking for movement on the surface, not for a motionless shape underwater. He's 3 steps into the stream when Titanoboa strikes. Close your eyes. Watch it happen in slow motion. The strike. The water explodes. A massive shape erupts from the stream bed in a shower of water and mud. The strike takes 0.4 seconds from initiation to contact. The lead hunter's brain has just begun processing something is wrong when the snake's jaws clamp onto his torso. The teeth, hundreds of them, sharp and backward curving, penetrate flesh and find purchase in muscle and between ribs. The force of the strike, 2,500 pounds of muscle accelerating from 0 to 10+ miles per hour, lifts the man off his feet and drags him backward into deeper water. He has time for one scream, one choked cry of shock and terror. Then the coils begin. The constriction. The first loop of Titanoboa's body wraps around the hunter's torso in less than a second. The second loop follows immediately, crossing over the first. The pressure is immediate and overwhelming. The man tries to inhale to scream again, but his chest won't expand. The coils are too tight. He tries to fight. His hands grasp at the smooth scales, trying to find purchase, trying to pry the loops apart. But it's like trying to move a tree trunk. The muscle beneath the scales is solid, unyielding. Another loop. The snake is methodical, efficient. It's done this thousands of times. The man's vision is already dimming. The pressure on his chest is crushing. His heart is being compressed. Blood flow to his brain is reduced. Breathe slowly. Feel the helplessness. The group's reaction. The other 7 humans are in shock. They've never seen anything like this. One moment their companion was there. The next he was grabbed by something impossible and dragged into the water. For 2 to 3 seconds they're frozen, paralyzed by fear and incomprehension. Then instinct kicks in. Run. They scatter, some back the way they came, some into the jungle parallel to the stream. They're not thinking tactically, they're fleeing in pure panic. This is exactly wrong, but they don't know that yet. They'll learn. The ones who survive will learn. The kill. The hunter in Titanoboa's coils is unconscious now. Maybe 30 seconds have passed from the strike. His brain, starved of oxygen and blood, has shut down. He'll be dead in another 30 seconds. Titanoboa doesn't release. It holds the constriction for several more minutes, long after the prey stops moving, long after the heartbeat stops. Instinct ensures the prey is truly dead before the dangerous work of swallowing begins. The group is long gone by now. They're half a mile away, still running, driven by pure terror. One of them, the adolescent, will have nightmares about this for the rest of his life. In his dreams, he'll see the water exploding, hear the cut-off stream. He'll wake up sweating and terrified. But he'll also learn. He'll never cross a murky stream without extreme caution. He'll teach his children to fear the water. He'll be the origin of stories told around campfires. Beware the great serpent that lurks in water. Close your eyes. Let this scene fade into memory. The consumption. Titanoboa drags the body to the bank. Swallowing in deep water is difficult. The snake needs to be partially on land for leverage. The jaws unlock and begin the slow process of working over the body. The skull first, tilting it to fit through the snake's stretched mouth. Then the shoulders. This is the widest part, the most difficult. The process takes about 45 minutes. The body disappears inch by inch into the snake's throat, propelled by rhythmic contractions of the throat muscles and movements of the jaw bones. Eventually, nothing remains but a bulge in the snake's midsection, a human-shaped lump slowly making its way toward the stomach. Titanoboa will not need to eat for weeks. It will find a secluded spot to digest, somewhere warm, somewhere safe. It will be sluggish and vulnerable during digestion, but in this time period, it has no predators to fear. The hunt is complete. Breathe deeply. Accept the brutal efficiency of nature. The survivor's tale, learning from disaster. Close your eyes and follow the survivors of the ambush. The 7 survivors don't stop running until exhaustion forces them to. They're miles from the stream now, in dense jungle, completely disoriented. 3 of them are together. The other 4 are scattered, lost, alone, terrified. Let's follow the group of 3, 2 adult males and 1 adult female. The aftermath of panic. They're gasping for breath, muscles burning from the sprint. They're also in shock, not medical shock, but psychological shock. They just witnessed something their brains can barely process. One moment their companion, an experienced hunter, a friend, a fellow band member, was alive. The next, he was grabbed by a monster and dragged away. The speed of it, the violence, the impossibility of the creature's size. Homo erectus has a theory of mind. They can imagine what another individual is experiencing. Right now, all 3 are imagining those final moments.
the terror, the pain, the suffocation. It's overwhelming. The female, her name, if she has one, we'll call her Swift for this narrative, is shaking, not from cold, from fear. One of the males, we'll call him Stone, is checking their surroundings obsessively, seeing threats in every shadow, hearing danger in every sound.
The other male, Ash, his skin has pale patches from an old burn, is the first to speak. He makes sounds, proto-language, concepts more than words. Back, others, find. It takes effort to think clearly. The amygdala is still flooding their brains with fear hormones, screaming, run, hide, danger. The prefrontal cortex, the planning, thinking part, has to fight to regain control. Breathe slowly. Feel the struggle for rational thought. The search. They need to find the other four. Safety is in numbers. Alone, they're vulnerable to all the dangers of the Paleocene world, not just Titanoboa, but other predators, injuries, starvation. They backtrack carefully, calling out with the group's recognition signals, specific sounds, combinations of calls that identify them as members of the same band. It takes until nightfall, but they find two more, another male and the adolescent. The adolescent, we'll call him Runner, is traumatized. He watched the attack. He saw everything. He's trembling and won't speak. Ash puts a hand on the boy's shoulder, a gesture of comfort, of solidarity. We survived. We're here. But two are still missing. The night is coming. They can't search in darkness. They make camp, a poor camp, hasty and fearful. They gather dead wood and build a fire larger than necessary. Fire is safety. Fire is home. Fire keeps the darkness away. They take turns on watch. None of them sleep well. In the morning, they find one of the missing two. She wandered for hours before collapsing from exhaustion. She's dehydrated and terrified, but alive. The last one, an adult male, they never find. Whether he died from his injuries sustained during the panicked flight, was taken by another predator, or simply went so far in the wrong direction that he couldn't find his way back, they don't know. 7 survivors from 8. Could have been worse. Should have been worse. Close your eyes. Feel the weight of survival. The learning begins. As the initial shock fades, the survivors begin to process what happened. They replay the attack in their minds, obsessively, compulsively. This is how humans process trauma, but it's also how we learn. Questions emerge. What was that creature? Where did it come from? How did we not see it? Could we have saved him? How do we avoid this happening again? They compare observations. Stone saw the water explode, but didn't see the creature clearly. Swift saw the massive coils as the creature wrapped around their companion. Runner saw the whole thing. He has the clearest memory, even though he wishes he didn't. Ash, who has seen large constrictors before, though nothing like this size, makes the connection. This was a snake, a serpent. Like the ones that live in trees and swamps, that hunt birds and small mammals, but impossibly large. This knowledge is crucial. Now they have a framework for understanding the threat. It's a snake, which means it's an ambush predator. It hides and waits. It strikes from concealment. It doesn't chase prey over long distances, which means watch for concealment. Check water before crossing. Look for shapes that don't belong. Massive coils among the rocks, 2 straight lines in the vegetation. They develop rules. Never cross water without checking it first. Throw stones into murky pools before approaching.
Assign someone to watch the water while others cross. Travel in tight groups where visibility allows. Avoid dense vegetation near water. Make noise while traveling to flush out ambush predators, though this attracts other dangers. Breathe deeply. Feel the emergence of hard-won wisdom. The story spreads. When they return to their main group, a band of maybe 30 to 40 individuals living in a semi-permanent camp, they tell their story. They act it out. They use gesture and sound and expression. They draw in the dirt, a long curving line to represent the snake. They show the size using their bodies and the trunks of trees. Some listeners are skeptical. A snake as long as 6 people lying end to end, as thick as a tree trunk? It's hard to believe. But the survivors are adamant. Their fear is real. Their trauma is obvious. And one of their group is gone, taken by something. The story is accepted and integrated into the group's knowledge. The elders, those who've survived longest, those who know the most, add it to the oral traditions. A new category of danger emerges, the great serpent, different from the snakes they know, vastly more dangerous. And with it, new taboos. Do not cross unknown waters carelessly. Do not camp near murky pools. Do not ignore the fear that crawls up your spine when you approach thick vegetation near rivers. These aren't just suggestions, they're survival rules. Break them, and you die. Let this hard-won knowledge settle into your mind as you drift toward sleep. The deliberate hunt when humans fight back. Close your eyes and imagine a different scenario. Not an ambush, but a confrontation. Humans who know about Titanoboa, who are prepared, who choose to fight. Why would anyone deliberately hunt Titanoboa? Several reasons. Revenge. A creature killed someone you loved and you want it dead. Defense. The snake is in your territory, near your camp, threatening your group. Resources. A creature this large represents enormous resources. Meat for many meals, skin for shelter or clothing, bones for tools, fat for waterproofing. Reputation. In a society where status comes from hunting prowess, killing such a creature would bring enormous prestige. So let's run this scenario. A hunting party has decided to kill a Titanoboa. The party. 10 experienced hunters, all adult males in their prime, ages 20 to 35. Remember, 35 is old for Homo erectus. These are the best hunters in the band. They've killed mammoth, killed saber-toothed cats, killed giant crocodiles. They're brave, skilled, and coordinated. But they're scared. They know what Titanoboa can do. They've heard the stories. Some of them have seen smaller constrictors hunt. They can extrapolate. But they're going anyway. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite fear. Breathe slowly. Feel their determination. The preparation. They've been preparing for days. Weapons. Each hunter carries a wooden spear, fire-hardened at the tip to increase hardness. Some spears have stone points, carefully napped flint or obsidian, sharp as glass, lashed to the shaft with sinew. Several hunters carry hand axes, fist-sized stones shaped to a cutting edge. They've gathered a supply of throwing stones, fist-sized rocks that fit comfortably in the hand. 2 hunters carry burning brands, fire on sticks, kept alive with dried grass and resin. Planning. They've scouted. They know where Titanoboa has been seen, a particular section of river with deep pools and thick vegetation. They've studied the ground looking for signs, massive track marks in mud, the belly drag of a giant snake, flattened vegetation where something huge passed through, possible shed skin if they're very lucky. They've chosen their battlefield, a relatively open riverbank where they'll have room to maneuver, where the snake can't use dense vegetation for concealment.
Their plan is simple. Find the snake, draw it onto the open ground, attack from multiple directions simultaneously, use fire to drive it away from water, strike vital points, the head, the eyes, the spine. Don't let it coil around anyone. Simple. Of course, no plan survives contact with the enemy. Close your eyes. Watch the hunt unfold. The tracking. They find signs quickly, too quickly. Freshly flattened vegetation leading toward the river, massive drag marks in soft mud, and then they find something worse, a recent kill site. The riverbank is churned and muddy. There are human footprints, small, probably a woman or adolescent, heading toward the water. Then the marks of struggle. Then nothing. Just the serpent track leading back into the water. This happened within the last day. The snake is close, and it's already fed, which means it might be sluggish, vulnerable, or it might be defensive, aggressive, dangerous in a different way. They move carefully, spreading out into a loose line, each hunter maintaining visual contact with those on either side. The river comes into view through the trees, slow-moving water, brown with silt. The far bank is choked with vegetation. The near bank is more open, good. And there, half submerged in a shallow pool near the far bank, is Titanoboa. The sighting. Even though they've been told, even though they've tried to imagine it, seeing Titanoboa is a shock. It's enormous, impossibly enormous. The coils visible above water are thicker than their torsos. The head, raised slightly above the surface, is the size of a large dog, and it's looking at them. The hunters freeze. Every instinct screams, run, hide, flee. But they don't. They're committed. They've come too far to run now. Stone, the lead hunter, veteran of 100 hunts, raises his spear and lets out a challenge call, a roar of defiance. The other hunters take up the call, 10 voices shouting across the water. They're announcing themselves, making themselves seem larger, more dangerous, more numerous than they are. It's a primate behavior, making noise to intimidate threats. Does it work on Titanoboa? Breathe deeply. Wait for the snake's response. The snake's calculation. Titanoboa's tiny brain processes the situation with reptilian logic. Multiple warm-blooded creatures, making noise, distress, aggression. The snake doesn't understand threat displays. It understands warm, meat, the right size. But there are many of them, and they're not behaving like prey. Prey runs or freezes. These creatures are advancing, spread out, holding objects. The snake has also just fed. Its midsection is still swollen with the recent meal. It's not hungry. Hunting would be difficult with a full stomach. The calculus tips toward caution. The snake begins to move, sliding deeper into the water toward the vegetation on the far bank. It's retreating. The hunt might be over before it begins. The provocation. Stone sees the snake moving away. They can't let it escape into deep water or dense vegetation. This is their chance. He calls to the others, "Now, drive it back!" The hunters spring into action. The two, with burning brands, rush to the water's edge and thrust the flames toward the snake. Fire is terrifying to most animals. It moves, it radiates heat, it destroys. Other hunters throw stones. Heavy rocks arc through the air and splash into the water near the snake, striking its coils. The snake reacts. It doesn't understand tools or weapons, but it understands impact, pain, heat. It turns, a massive, sinuous movement. The head swings toward the hunters, and then it moves toward them. Not a fast strike, a deliberate, powerful advance. Sliding through the water, onto the bank, coil after coil emerging from the river. The humans have succeeded in provoking the snake. Now they have to survive what comes next. Close your eyes. The battle begins. The human strategy. Distance, distraction, damage. Let yourself relax as we analyze the tactical situation. The hunters face a dilemma. How do you kill something that you can't fight hand to hand? The answer, evolved over thousands of generations of hunting megafauna, is distance, distraction, and cumulative damage. Phase 1. Maintain distance. The hunters spread out in a loose arc, each one about 15 feet from his nearest companion. This spacing is crucial for several reasons. Prevents group casualties. If Titanoboa charges one hunter, it can only reach that one hunter. The others remain safe. Allows coordinated attack. Multiple hunters can strike from different angles simultaneously. Creates confusion for the snake. Titanoboa's hunting instinct is tuned for single prey. Multiple targets moving in different directions creates uncertainty. Provides retreat routes. If one hunter is in danger, he has room to run without colliding with companions. Stone, the lead hunter, directs the formation with calls and gestures. The hunters maintain their arc, backing away as the snake advances, but not fleeing. They're controlling the engagement distance. The snake emerges fully from the water now. The hunters get their first clear view of its full length, and it's terrifying. Coil after coil, seemingly endless. 45 feet of predator. But the hunters hold formation. They don't break. This is their first victory, maintaining discipline despite fear. Breathe slowly. Feel their courage. Phase Q. Test attacks. The hunters begin probing attacks. From the sides of the arc, hunters throw stones, not random throws, aimed throws. Homo erectus can throw with remarkable accuracy, a unique ability among primates. We have specialized shoulder joints, enhanced hand-eye coordination, and the cognitive ability to calculate ballistic trajectories. The stones fly true. Most hit the snake's body. The massive coils make for a hard-to-miss target. Some hit the head. The snake flinches from the impacts. The stones aren't doing serious damage. The scales and muscle provide excellent protection. But it's creating pain, irritation, distraction. One hunter, Ash, darts forward with his spear. He's fast, closing in to within 10 feet, then thrusting the spear at the snake's midsection. The fire-hardened wooden point strikes scales and slides off. The angle is wrong, the force insufficient. He backs away quickly before the snake can retaliate. But he's learned something. Stabbing at the body from this angle doesn't work. The scales overlap, creating a natural armor. You'd need to hit between the scales or strike with much more force. The information is shared instantly. The other hunters see, understand, and adjust their approach.
The two hunters with burning brands move forward.
They wave the flames in front of the snake, creating a barrier of heat and light. Titanoboa reacts. It's never encountered fire before. Fire didn't exist in nature in concentrated form during the Paleocene. Volcanic eruptions, yes, but not sustained flame. The snake pulls back slightly, head weaving as it tries to track the moving flames and the humans behind them. This is the opportunity. Close your eyes. Watch the coordinated strike. Phase 4, the coordinated attack. Stone gives the signal, a specific call. This is it. From 3 directions simultaneously, hunters charge. Stone from the left, spear raised. Runner, the adolescent from the earlier ambush, now a young adult seeking revenge, from the right, also with a spear. Ash from the center, hand axe ready. They're targeting the head and neck, the vital areas where the brain and spine are closer to the surface, where scales might be thinner. Stone's spear strikes first. He's aiming for the eye. If he can blind the snake, it becomes much less dangerous. But the snake's head moves at the last instant. The spear point glances off the heavy skull bones. Runner's spear hits the neck, several feet behind the head. This time the angle is right. The point penetrates between scales, driving into muscle. Not deep, maybe 2-3 inches, but it's a wound. The snake whips its head around with shocking speed. Runner barely has time to release the spear and throw himself backward. Ash's hand axe comes down on the snake's head in a powerful overhand strike. The impact is solid, bone on bone. The snake's skull is thick, designed to absorb impact from struggling prey, but this hurts. Titanoboa is now injured, in pain, and angry. Breathe deeply. Feel the tide turning. Phase 5, the counterattack. Titanoboa does what any injured predator does. It attacks. The head lunges towards Runner, who's closest. The jaws open, impossibly wide, revealing hundreds of needle-sharp teeth. Runner is fast. He's dodging before the strike fully commits. The jaws snap shut inches from his leg. But Titanoboa has another weapon, its body. A massive coil sweeps sideways, low to the ground, moving faster than something that large should be able to move. It catches 2 hunters who were trying to circle behind. One, an experienced hunter named Red Ochre, jumps and barely clears it. The other, younger, less experienced, isn't quick enough. The coil hits his legs, sweeping them out from under him. He goes down hard, and Titanoboa is on him instantly. Close your eyes. Watch the tragedy unfold. The sacrifice. The coils begin to wrap. The hunter, his name is Smoke for the dark streaks in his hair, tries to scramble away, but he's already caught. One loop pins his legs, another crosses his chest. He screams, not in pain yet, in fear. He knows what's happening. He's heard the stories. The other hunters converge. They're stabbing at the coils, trying to drive the snake off, trying to force it to release. Spear points probe for gaps in the scales. Stone strikes repeatedly with his hand axe, trying to break ribs, trying to damage the snake enough that it lets go. But Titanoboa has its prey. It's not releasing. Smoke's screams become choked. The pressure is building. He can't breathe. Stone makes a command decision, a terrible decision. He calls the others back. They can't save Smoke. If they keep trying, more will be caught. The snake is still dangerous, still powerful, still capable of killing again. Smoke is already gone. They're fighting, a corpse. The hunters retreat, leaving their companion in the coils. Smoke's last sight is his friends backing away. His last thought is betrayal, abandonment, terror, then unconsciousness, then death. Breathe slowly. Honor the fallen. Phase 6. persistence. But the hunters don't flee. They've lost one, but 9 remain, and Titanoboa has a problem. It's now occupied with constricting and holding Smoke's body. Its attention is divided. It's vulnerable. The hunters spread out again, maintaining distance, and they begin a new kind of attack: attrition. From a safe distance, they throw stones, methodically, repeatedly, targeting the head whenever it's visible. Most stones miss or glance off, but some hit true. The accumulated impact is damaging. The snake's skull is tough, but it's not invulnerable. Bruising, possibly fractures. One stone hits an eye. The snake recoils, shaking its head. The eye is damaged, maybe not blinded, but injured. The hunters also throw burning brands. The flames scare the snake, forcing it to adjust position, preventing it from being comfortable. This goes on for an hour, then 2. The hunters have water and smoked meat. They can continue. They take turns throwing, resting, gathering more stones and more branches for fire. Titanoboa begins to understand it's in a bad situation. It's injured. It's being harassed by creatures that won't leave and won't come close enough to catch. And it's still digesting a recent meal, which makes it sluggish. Eventually, the snake makes a decision: retreat. It releases Smoke's body, now dead for over an hour, and begins moving towards the water. The hunters let it go. They've achieved their goal. They've driven Titanoboa away from their territory. They've proven it can be fought. And they've learned valuable lessons about how to wound it. Close your eyes. Feel the bitter victory. The cost: 1 dead. Smoke's body lies on the churned mud, broken ribs visible through the skin, face blue-purple from asphyxiation. Several hunters have minor injuries, sprains from diving away from strikes, cuts from falling, bruises from glancing blows. All are traumatized. They've faced death and survived, but they've also lost a companion. They recover Smoke's body and carry it back to camp. He'll be buried or exposed according to their customs. He'll be mourned, but he'll also be remembered as part of the first successful fight against the great serpent. The story of this battle will be told and retold. It will spread to other groups. It will become legend. And the lessons learned, how to fight, how to coordinate, what works and what doesn't, will save lives in future encounters. Let this knowledge carry you deeper into sleep. The kill, what would it actually take? Close your eyes and consider the harder question: could humans actually kill Titanoboa?
The snake slides out of the water with barely a sound. The belly scales grip the mud, the earth, propelling the massive body forward in smooth, silent motion. It's moving toward the camp, toward the sleeping humans. The approach. Titanoboa is 30 feet from the nearest sleeping person. The fire is another 15 feet beyond that. The guards are on the opposite side of the fire. They're looking outward, away from the camp, watching for danger from the jungle. They don't see the riverside. This is a fundamental problem with fire-based defense. The fire creates a zone of light, but it also creates shadows. It impairs night vision. When you look at fire, your pupils contract, making it harder to see into darkness. The guards can't see Titanoboa. The snake is approaching from the dark side, outside the fire's glow. 25 feet. The snake is now close enough that if anyone were awake and looking, they might see its shape, a massive shadow moving through shadows. But no one is looking. The camp sleeps. 20 feet. The nearest sleeping person is a woman. We'll call her Willow, lying on her side, curled around a sleeping child, her daughter, age 4. 15 feet.
Titanoboa can clearly detect their heat now. The warm shapes are perfect, prey-sized, vulnerable. 10 feet, well within strike range. Close your eyes. Watch the nightmare unfold. The strike. Titanoboa doesn't hesitate. It strikes at Willow, the nearest adult. The jaws open. The head lunges forward with explosive speed. Willow wakes to pain and pressure. Something has grabbed her around the torso. Something is lifting her, pulling her. She has 1 second of confused awakening. What? Where? What's happening? Before primal terror floods her brain. She screams, a full-throated, maximum-volume scream of pure terror. The camp explodes into chaos. The chaos. Everyone wakes simultaneously. Confusion, fear, disorientation. Where's the danger? What's happening? The guards spin around. By firelight, they see Willow lifted off the ground, wrapped in massive coils that gleam in the flickering light. Her arms are free. She's beating at the scales with her fists, trying to pry the coils apart. Her legs kick uselessly. And behind her, more coils, more snake, a massive head, jaw still clamped on her body. The rest of the snake's length extends back toward the river, impossible to see how long, disappearing into darkness. People are screaming now, children crying, adults shouting. Some freeze, some scramble away from the monster, some grab weapons. The coils tighten around Willow. Her screams become choked, then silent. The pressure is crushing. Her daughter is screaming for her mother, trying to run toward the snake. An adult grabs the child, holds her back. Breathe deeply. Feel the horror and helplessness. The response. Some hunters try to fight. They grab spears, brands from the fire. They advance on the snake. But it's night. Vision is poor. The snake is partially in shadow. Movement is confused by dancing firelight. One hunter throws a spear. In daylight from this range, he wouldn't miss. At night, by firelight, the spear goes wide, clattering harmlessly on the ground beyond the snake. Another hunter rushes in with a burning brand, trying to force the snake to release. The snake's head whips toward him. He stumbles back, trips, falls. The snake could strike at him too. He's vulnerable on the ground. But the Titanoboa already has prey. It doesn't need more. It starts to retreat, dragging Willow's now limp body. The retreat. More hunters converge. They're shouting, coordinating, but it's chaotic. No clear plan. Some throw rocks. Some jab with spears at the snake's body as it slides past. One hunter is brave or desperate enough to hack at the coils with a hand axe. The stone blade bites into muscle. The snake jerks, a reflexive response to injury. The movement throws the hunter off balance. He falls near the coils. For a terrible moment, it seems the snake will grab him too. The body curves toward him. But then the tail disappears into the darkness, toward the river. The snake is leaving, taking Willow with it. The hunters start to pursue, but they're running into darkness, on uncertain ground, chasing a predator that can see heat and move silently. One of them trips over a root and goes down hard. Another nearly runs into a tree. They stop. Pursuing into darkness is suicide. They just get more people killed. Willow is gone. Close your eyes. Feel the devastating loss. The aftermath. This band doesn't sleep again that night. They build up the fire until it's roaring, pushing back the darkness. They post 4 guards instead of 2. Everyone clusters close together, weapons at hand. The child, Willow's daughter, cries until exhaustion finally claims her.
She'll wake from nightmares for years. She'll never feel safe at night again. The adults replay the attack, trying to understand how it happened, how they failed to prevent it. The guilt is crushing. Why didn't the guard see it coming? Why didn't someone wake up earlier? Why couldn't they save her? But the truth is, there was nothing they could do. Titanoboa ambushed them from the dark, struck with perfect efficiency, and left. The whole attack took maybe 90 seconds. This is Titanoboa's world. Humans are just living in it. Breathe slowly. Accept the reality of the nightmare. The lesson. After this attack, this band's behavior changes. 1. They never camp near water again. Never. The risk is too high. They keep multiple large fires burning all night, creating overlapping circles of light. They post more guards who rotate frequently to stay alert. They build basic fortifications, low walls of stones or logs to give warning if something large approaches. They sleep in shifts so the camp is never fully asleep. They develop alarm systems, tripwires made of cordage that will make noise if something large passes. These changes reduce their risk, but they can't eliminate it. As long as Titanoboa is in the area, nights are terror. The only real solution is to leave, to abandon this territory and find somewhere the great serpent doesn't hunt. Many bands will make that choice. The presence of Titanoboa might shape human settlement patterns, creating no-go zones where humans simply don't live.
Let this adaptation settle into your mind as you drift deeper. The pregnant woman, evolution's cruelest mathematics. Close your eyes and confront a grim reality. Pregnant women are at even greater disadvantage against Titanoboa. Let's examine why. Because evolution doesn't care about fairness. A pregnant woman, we'll call her morning, named for the time of day she was born, is in her third trimester. Her belly is swollen, her center of gravity is shifted, her mobility is compromised. She's still contributing to her band. Homo erectus women worked through pregnancy, gathering food, preparing hides, caring for children. Stopping work wasn't an option. The band needed every person's contribution. But she's slower now, more careful in her movements. She can't run like she used to, can't climb, can't fight effectively. She's vulnerable. The scenario. Morning is gathering tubers near a stream with 2 other women and an adolescent male. They're in late afternoon, planning to return to camp before dark. The stream is small, just a few feet wide, easily stepped across. They've used this gathering site before. It's been safe. Titanoboa is in the stream. It's been here for a day, waiting. It's hungry. The last hunt was 2 weeks ago, and it's ready to feed. It detects the humans approaching. 4 warm shapes, different sizes. One moves differently, slower, more awkward. That one. Breathe slowly. Feel the predator's calculation. The attack. Titanoboa strikes from the stream as morning steps near the bank. The snake is perfect. The ambush is flawless. Jaws clamp onto morning's swollen belly. The teeth penetrate fabric, skin, muscle. Morning's scream is unlike anything the other humans have heard. It's not just fear, it's agony. The teeth are piercing her abdomen. Her unborn child is in there. The coils begin immediately, but because of her pregnancy, the constriction is even more dangerous. The terrible physics. When Titanoboa constricts a pregnant woman, the pressure on the abdomen can cause premature placental separation, The placenta tears away from the uterus. Uterine rupture. The womb literally tears. Compression of the fetus. Internal bleeding. Shock from both injury and blood loss. Morning might die from constriction like any other prey, or she might die from internal hemorrhage before she suffocates, or the fetus might die first and she'll feel it happening. Evolution's cruelest mathematics. 2 lives lost instead of 1. Close your eyes. Let the tragedy wash over you. The impossible choice. The other 3 humans with Morning are trying to help. They're throwing rocks, jabbing with digging sticks, screaming, but they're not equipped for combat. They're foragers, not hunters. They don't have weapons. They're not trained fighters. The adolescent male, Ember, rushes at the snake with a heavy stone, trying to hit its head. He misses. The snake's head whips toward him. He barely dodges. One of the women, Gray Hair, runs toward camp, screaming for help. If she can bring hunters, maybe they can save Morning. But camp is 10 minutes away at a sprint. Even if hunters come immediately, it will be too late. The other woman, Frost, won't leave. She keeps attacking the snake, desperate, crying, ineffective. Ember grabs her, pulls her away. We can't help. We'll die too. Frost fights him, trying to get back to Morning. We can't leave her. She's pregnant. She's already gone. And he's right. Her movements are already weakening. The coils are too tight. Frost sobs but stops fighting. They retreat. Morning dies within 3 minutes of the initial strike. Her last thoughts are of her daughter back at camp and the child she'll never meet. Breathe deeply. Honor the lost. The evolutionary pressure. This isn't just a tragedy, it's a selection pressure. In a world with Titanoboa, pregnant women are at high risk. They're slower, less mobile, more vulnerable. This creates pressure for protected pregnancy. Pregnant women staying in camp, not venturing out. Social support. More investment in protecting pregnant women. Shorter gestation. Evolutionary pressure for shorter pregnancies, though this takes thousands of generations. Earlier weaning. Get children independent faster. Reduced fertility during dangerous seasons, if there are seasonal patterns to Titanoboa activity. But these adaptations only help at the population level over long timescales. For Morning, for her specific pregnancy, there's no help. She's simply unlucky. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong body state. Evolution doesn't care about individuals. It only cares about which genes make it to the next generation. Morning's other daughter, still alive back at camp, carries Morning's genes. That's what matters to evolution. But to Morning's band, to her family, to the father of her unborn child, it's devastating. Let this cruel reality lull you towards sleep. The final scenario. What if they coexisted long term? Close your eyes and imagine an alternate timeline. What if Titanoboa and humans shared the world for thousands of years? Not just brief overlap, but sustained coexistence. How would it shape both species? Year 1 to 100, the learning period. Early encounters are catastrophic for humans. High casualties, entire bands wiped out, terror spreads. But humans learn. Survival strategies emerge. Avoid certain territories, develop warning systems, create communal bands, build communal knowledge about the threat. Titanoboa's population remains stable. It's adapted to this environment over millions of years. A few more prey species, humans, doesn't fundamentally change its ecology. Human population in Titanoboa regions, suppressed, high mortality, Only the most cautious, the most skilled, the most lucky survive. Year 100 to 500, the adaptation period. Human strategies improve, successful tactics spread, specialized tools develop. Some human bands become proficient at fighting Titanoboa. They can drive it away, occasionally kill it. Other bands simply avoid Titanoboa territory entirely. They settle in regions where the snake doesn't live, cooler climates, areas without suitable wetlands. Titanoboa begins to face a new pressure. Humans actively hunting it in some areas. Its population in human-heavy zones declines slightly. But Titanoboa has vast territories humans haven't reached yet. Overall population stable. Human population growing in Titanoboa-free zones, stable or slowly growing in Titanoboa zones where humans have developed effective defenses. Breathe slowly. Watch the balance emerge. Year 500 to 1000, the ecological shift. The snake, Titanoboa, begins to adapt to humans. It's not only a predator, it's also a prey species. Titanoboa behavior changes. In some areas, they become more secretive, more elusive, avoid human settlements, hunt at night, apart from human activity. Humans adapt further. They develop weapons techniques specific for killing Titanoboa. Long spears, barbed harpoons for waterborne ambushes. Traps, deep pits, collapsed lairs. Hunting parties specialize in Titanoboa. These are elite warriors. Territory. Human and Titanoboa distribution becomes more distinct. Humans dominate certain territories. Some species are driven to extinction. Titanoboa retreats into the deepest wetlands, most inaccessible areas. New ecological balance. Humans have stable populations and social structures, and they tell stories about the terrible South American giant snake. Titanoboa survives, but it now knows a new apex predator, the one that tells stories. Breathe deeply. Let this reality wash over you.
But these changes take many, many generations. Snakes have long generation times. Human population. Significantly higher in all zones. Humans are no longer severely limited by Titanoboa. Year 2000 to 5000. The dominance shift. Humans are now numerous, widespread, and technologically advanced for the Paleolithic. Titanoboa is being actively hunted in many areas. For meat, still valuable. For materials, skin, bones. For safety, removing dangerous predators near settlements. For prestige, killing one is still a significant achievement. Titanoboa population declining in human-heavy areas, retreating to remote swamps, areas humans don't heavily use. The snake is no longer a major threat to most human populations. It's a known danger, respected, but manageable. Some human cultures might begin conservation behaviors, taboos against killing juveniles, recognition that Titanoboa keeps other predators and pests in check, spiritual significance that protects certain individuals or areas. Or humans might drive it to extinction in accessible areas, preserving it only in regions too difficult or dangerous for heavy human presence. Human population, dominant in all suitable habitats, limited primarily by resources, not by predation. Close your eyes. See the arc of history.